What's up guys, it's Joshua here, and I'm back with another Flight Simulator X video. In this situation here, what you're seeing on screen, is, I was doing a normal little flight, and it was off camera, I wasn't recording, it was off camera, I was doing a little flight tour. I was planning to fly around San Diego for about 20 minutes, using the FS Passengers add-on to, give them a nice little tour, and, something went terribly wrong all of a sudden. I was just flying, I suddenly lost power. I tried restarting the engines, and the prop just wouldn't start moving again. So what ended up happening was I ended up calling in an emergency and requesting permission to land just before I started recording. I was like, "Hey, I can make a video out of this," and that's exactly what I did. And as you're about to see when I start the video for you guys, you'll see that what it happened basically. This was just after I declared an emergency and requested permission to land. Um, Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned, but I'd say it ended up all right. So yeah, just enjoy the video.
Romeo 025, San Diego Tower, enter left traffic, runway niner, altimeter 2992. Enter left downwind, runway niner, Juliet Romeo 025. Southwest 3057, contact SoCal departure on 127.3. Going at 127.3, Southwest 3057. San Diego Tower, Southwest 783, ready to go. Runway niner, IFR to midway. Southwest 783, cleared for takeoff. Runway niner.
Right about here, I start looking for alternate locations to land in case I wasn't gonna make it and land on the runway. Unfortunately for me, there wasn't really much of a spot for me to land in, as there was mainly all houses and trees around, and there wasn't really any clearings. So you'll see what I ended up having to do in just a
San
second.
Diego Tower, Southwest 2167 is 22 miles west inbound ILS. Runway niner, approach. Southwest 2167, San Diego Tower, make straight in, runway niner. Altimeter 2992. Cleared for takeoff, runway niner.
Here is where I realized that I wasn't gonna get cleared for landing in time, and so basically what I ended up doing was I ended up looking at the runway, and I was like, well, I have no other choice. It's either land on the runway and maybe get in trouble for landing without clearance, or land in trees and end up killing everybody. So I took for the runway, and unfortunately for me, there was another problem. There was a jet on the runway, literally taking off, and but luckily he takes off just in time for me to have enough space to land, and I end up circling around and lining up on the runway and making a pretty, well, decent landing, as you're about to see.
Southwest 783, contact SoCal departure on 127.3. Going to 127.3, Southwest 783. Juliet Romeo 025, you are not cleared to land. Clear the runway. Juliet Romeo 025, contact ground on 123.9. 123.9, Juliet Romeo 025.
Overall, I'd say that I handled the situation pretty well. Everybody lived, everybody was fine and uninjured. The plane later on, in FS Passengers, ended up costing me $23,000 just to repair the engine, so. But I run a multi-million-dollar company on FS Passengers, so it wasn't really too bad of a hit. I didn't make any profit. I lost quite a bit of money on that flight. Um, but overall, as I'm about to show you right now, the passengers, they actually gave my company a really good rating, and that shocked me. So overall, I would say that I did pretty good on this flight. What you're seeing on screen now is the flight report. It'll basically tell you everything that's happened. At the top, you can see my flight ID, what plane I was flying. I was flying a Cessna Skyhawk 172. How many passengers I had? I had 2 passengers. And now we'll go on to the incident report. So this is what happened, what actually happened. It said, I'll read this to you in case you can't see it for some reason. It says, our engine sustained some damage shortly after takeoff due to a bird strike. Yeah, I didn't see any birds up there, but I guess I missed it somehow, and it apparently damaged my engine, and I didn't see it, hear it, or feel it or anything, so that was odd. It says the oil temperature started to increase gradually, eventually leading to engine power loss and complete shutdown. It says there is an exceptional pilot on board, and despite the dire situation, he was able to land the aircraft safely. The captain has also declared an emergency before landing. Yeah, that's actually pretty much what happened. The oil temperature did start to increase. I didn't notice it because it was really gradual, so I didn't notice the temperature increasing. Um, but definitely did notice the power loss and then eventually the complete shutdown. When it started losing power, I'd say it was about quarter throttle, what it was at, and I was like, okay, so I tried getting off the throttle, going to idle, and then full throttle again, and it was still quarter throttle, and I tried that a few times, and it wasn't changing, so I was like, okay, there's something going on here, and I can't fly on quarter throttle, so that immediately was a problem. And then I would say about 10 seconds later, the engine completely shut down. I was like, okay, something's definitely going on here. And right then and there, I called in an emergency, and I was clearance to land. Here's the report. I flew total 16 nautical miles. That's not that far considering I was just flying circles around it. And yeah, landing speed was 46 knots. So that's actually a very slow landing speed, especially for for Cessna, it's pretty slow. But yeah, a landing touchdown, negative 248 feet a minute, which was labeled as nice apparently, even though I pulled 2Gs on landing. And the landing pitch was 7 degrees. That's a pretty big landing pitch. Okay, over on this next slide, you can see the passenger opinion and everything. This is what the passengers thought of the flight. Apparently, what they thought of the flight was that it was an exceptional flight, and they gave it 100%, even though the engine cut out. They said they were irritated by the excessive G forces, which was positive 2G. Yeah, that was from the landing, and yeah, if you saw what happened, how the landing was, which you did if you're this far, you see that was a pretty hard landing. So they were very anxious because of the problem during the flight, but were relieved to land safely after an emergency, which is good. The financial report, I'm not going to read you the financial report. You can see it there if you really care about the financial report. The company reputation, considering that the ticket price was low, the flight was apparently perfect, and the passengers on this flight think that it should be 100% my reputation. I guess they were very thankful that I landed it that safely. Yeah, they said that it should be 100%. It was a 0.38 increase, which is actually a lot for only 2 passengers, especially during something crazy happened. Yeah, that's about what happened. Okay, on this last slide, so this is just gonna show you the rest of it. The overall flight result. It was labeled as a perfect flight somehow. I don't know how it was. Well, maybe because I handled it really good. Gave me 800 pilot points on my pilot's first flight working for my company, which is a lot apparently. Said I made a very nice landing, so that's plus 50. There was a problem aboard, and I declared an emergency, plus 150. And it says a serious problem occurred during flight, but you landed safely. Nice job. That's plus 600. Nice. It took away 300 points because I did forget to set the squawk code to 7700, and that took away 300 points. Basically what the squawk code is, if you don't know what the squawk is, it's basically, think of it as 911 for flying. And 911, basically what the squawk code is, if you set it, it's basically like certain codes, and that code means something. So the 7700 emergency code is the emergency code that FS Passengers has. And what the squawk thing does is the squawk code will tell air traffic control what the emergency is, or what the status of the aircraft is, status, and it'll also transpond your location. So yeah, that's basically what happened, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments section below. As always, my name is Joshua. Let me know how I did during flight. If you want to see more, let me know. As always, like this video and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.